Welcome to the Roy Morgan Weekly Update. ALP primary support is up 3% to 28.5%, ahead of One Nation on 25% and the LNP coalition at 23.5%. The Liberals are on 21% and Nationals 2.5%. Greens are down 3% to 12.5%, and independents and other parties are on 10.5%, according to the Roy Morgan poll conducted from August 10 to 16, with a representative Australia-wide cross-section of 1,576 electors. Now, support for the Greens fell significantly in Victoria and South Australia, and especially in the cities of Melbourne, Brisbane and Adelaide, with support down by at least 4 percentage points. The fall in support came as controversial Greens Senator Mehreen Faruqi urged students to skip school last week to protest against One Nation and its national leader Pauline Hanson. The Greens' loss appears to have translated into a win for the ALP, up 3% to 28.5%. That's the highest primary support for the ALP since the federal budget. If a federal election were held now, the ALP would win a majority against either One Nation, 53 to 47, or the LNP coalition, 52 to 48. A clear majority of Australians, 60.5%, say the country's going in the wrong direction. Only 26% say the country's going in the right direction, although that's up 2%. This view is shared by both genders, with 62.5% of men and 58% of women saying Australia is going in the wrong direction. Analysis of voting intention shows really large differences between supporters of the different parties. 91% of One Nation voters say the country's going in the wrong direction, as do 77% of coalition voters, 68% of minor party voters, and 58% of independent voters. On the other hand, this compares to 47% of Greens voters and only 25% of ALP voters. Among ALP supporters, a rising majority, 56%, up 5%, say the country's going in the right direction. There was good news for consumer confidence, rising to its highest mark since early March. This week, ANZ Roy Morgan consumer confidence was up 1.5 points to 76.5. Driving the increase was more confidence about personal finances after the Reserve Bank left interest rates unchanged. There's been a clear divergence in recent weeks between the confidence of renters, homeowners, and those with a mortgage. For those facing the most challenges, high interest rates and mortgage repayments on homes that are or may be losing value, that's people with a mortgage, consumer confidence has averaged only 68.2 since the start of July. This compares to an average of 75.6 for homeowners facing downward pressure on the value of their home, and 81.5 for renters, which is actually higher than in February before the Iran war. Since the start of July, consumer confidence for renters has been highest of the three groups for 7 straight weeks. A key factor putting upward pressure on inflation and inflation expectations is the rising price of petrol, which has now been above $2 per litre for the last 2 weeks and is up over 40 cents per litre since late June. The renewed spike in petrol prices is flowing through to inflation expectations. ANZ Roy Morgan inflation expectations increased 0.1% to 5.8%. This means Australians expect annual inflation of 5.8% in each of the next 2 years. And this is the 5th time in the last 6 weeks inflation expectations have increased. Turning now then to Victoria and an analysis of the special Roy Morgan Victorian SMS poll in early August. We look at it by region, and it shows the LNP coalition and One Nation are on track to win a majority of seats in Victoria's upper house at this year's state election. The LNP coalition are set to win at least 11 seats and One Nation at least 10 seats, so at least 21 seats in the 40-seat chamber. Since the new Upper House regional voting system was introduced in 2006, the LNP coalition has only managed to win a majority once. That was in 2010. The ALP is on track to win at least 9 seats, the Greens at least 2 seats, and other parties 1 seat. A further 7 seats are still up for grabs, with preference deals key to deciding who'll win them. The results in the lower house remain highly uncertain and dependent on preference deals between the major parties, but the latest Morgan poll showed the coalition holding a narrow edge over the ALP, leading 51 to 49 on a two-party preferred basis. And now to fast food. New Roy Morgan research shows 19.2 million Australians aged 14 plus, or 82.5% of us, ate takeaway food in an average 6 months from fast food outlets. Old favourite McDonald's is again the leading restaurant, with more than 11.3 million customers eating takeaway food from the restaurant, and many of these customers doing so multiple times. Ahead of KFC with 10.3 million, Hungry Jack's 6.3 million, and Domino's Pizza 5.2 million. And there are another 10 fast food restaurants who have at least 1 million customers in an average 6 months. And finally today, to a Roy Morgan forecast for retail sales. Although the retail industry faces significant challenges with cost of living concerns, rising interest rates and high inflation, the industry is approaching a significant milestone this August, with monthly retail sales set to tick over $40 billion for the first time, and that's an increase of 6% on a year ago. Driving this increase is high growth in household goods, up 8.8% from a year ago to almost 6.7 billion in monthly sales, and strong growth in hospitality, up 6.2% to over 5.9 billion. By state, the fastest growth is in Western Australia. That's up 7.2% to $4.8 billion. South Australia's up 6.4% to $2.6 billion, and New South Wales is up 6.1% to more than $12 billion for the month of August. Looking forward, I'll be back next week to bring you the latest data on mortgage stress, consumer confidence, inflation expectations, and the latest federal voting intention.